Good morning and welcome to Round the Globe on Aneke TV. First, the headlines. Peru's president impeached as crime and protest spiral. Toxic cough syrup kills 20 children in India. Moscow mourns fading Trump-Putin warmth. Macron reappoints Lecornu as prime minister. Pensioners still earning 5,000 naira monthly. Blacklisted pen universities in NYSC certificate scam. Mba Enugu lawmakers dump PDP for APC. I'm Deborah Wakoba with the details of the news. Peruvian lawmakers have impeached President Dina Boluarte after months of public outrage over rising crime, corruption scandals, and discontent. On the investigation for Rolex Gate and accused of giving herself a pay rise amid mass protests, leaves behind a country gripped by gang violence and deep political turmoil. Reports show at least 20 children in India have died after taking contaminated cough syrup containing diethylene glycol (DEG), a toxic industrial chemical. The World Health Organization has expressed deep concern over gaps in India's drug safety regulations, warning that the tainted products could spread to other countries. The deaths, mostly in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, were linked to syrups made by Stresan, Rednex, and Shea Pharmaceuticals. Authorities have arrested Stresan's owner, G. Raghunathan, and suspended the company's license after inspectors uncovered 364 manufacturing violations, including unhygienic production and unqualified staff. India's health ministry has banned the syrups and tightened rules on pediatric cough medicine. The tragedy echoes previous cases in the Gambia and Uzbekistan, where Indian-made syrups killed nearly 100 children in 2023. WHO says the latest incident underscores an urgent need for tighter oversight and international monitoring of pharmaceutical exports. A win for women, as Venezuela's opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has been awarded the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize for her relentless fight for democracy amid a brutal authoritarian regime. Forced into hiding for the past year, Machado has been praised as a symbol of civilian courage, inspiring millions despite threats to her life. The Norwegian Nobel Committee lauded her efforts to achieve a peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy. Machado had been blocked from running in Venezuela's 2024 presidential election, instead backing Edmundo González Urrutia. The prize includes $1.2 million, a gold medal, and a diploma, and will be presented in Oslo on December 10th. In other news, 2 months after Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin's high-profile handshake at the Alaska summit sparked hopes of U.S.-Russia thaw, Moscow now says the momentum is gone. Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov warned that relations are cracking and collapsing, blaming Washington for failing to reciprocate Russia's push for dialogue on Ukraine and broader cooperation. While Putin struck a more diplomatic tone, saying complex issues require more study, Trump's recent remarks, including his openness to aiming Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles, have angered Moscow. The Kremlin warned such a move would destroy what's left of bilateral ties. Despite Putin's praise for Trump's peace efforts and nods to shared traditional values, Russian optimism has deemed a pro-Kremlin columnist summed it up bluntly. Donald has thoroughly disappointed us with his trademark inconsistency. Now over to recent development. French President Emmanuel Macron has reinstated Sébastien Lecornu as Prime Minister just days after his resignation in a bold bid to end France's escalating political turmoil. The move has enraged both far-right and left-wing parties who call their appointment a democratic disgrace. Lecornu, 38, now faces the urgent task of passing France's 2026 budget through a fractured parliament before Monday's deadline. Macron is banking on Lecornu's loyalty and experience to stabilize a government rocked by months of chaos, economic slowdown, and mounting public frustration. The central bank has warned that the crisis could shave 0.2% of GDP growth, while opposition leaders threaten to vote down Lokonu's new cabinet. In the meantime, Indian authorities have deported a 33-year-old Nigerian, Geoffrey Dozio Obibe, for allegedly living illegally in the country since 2019. According to the Times of India, Dozio Obibe reportedly entered India through Nepal by road without a passport or visa and was later linked to drug peddling activities in Hyderabad and Bangalore. He was arrested by the Hyderabad task force after being spotted acting suspiciously in the Toli Chowki area. Though no drugs were found on him, police said his stay posed a security risk. Authorities confirmed his deportation after obtaining an emergency travel certificate from the Nigerian embassy. This news broadcast is coming to you live from Aneke TV. Remember, you can follow us on all social media feeds on Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok, here on YouTube, all at Aneke TV. Now, a quick reminder of major developments in the news. Peru's president impeached as crime and protest spiral. Toxic cough syrup kills 20 children in India. Moscow mourns fading Trump-Putin warmth. Macron reappoints Lekonu as prime minister. And coming up shortly, pensioners still earning 5,000 naira monthly. Blacklisted Benin varsities in NYSC certificate scam. Mba Enugu lawmakers dump PDP for APC. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Febra Wakoba. I am Chidimike Mede.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chiwendo Ifeonwankwe.
My name is Obobina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV, or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
Welcome back. We bring you stories from Nigeria. The Nigeria Union of Pensioners (NUP) has decried the harsh living conditions of retirees, revealing that some state pensioners still earn as little as 5,000 naira monthly, despite the skyrocketing cost of living. NUP General Secretary Actor Zal lamented that only 13 states pay pensions and gratuities regularly, while most retirees can barely survive. Federal pensioners, he noted, fare slightly better with a minimum of 32,000 naira. Zal dismissed the federal government's new pension-backed loan scheme as fetching water with a basket, arguing that retirees lack the means to repay such loans. He urged the government to raise the minimum pension to 60,000 naira, introduce health insurance, subsidize transport and food support, and ensure that any wage or pension increases reflect in both old and contributory pension schemes. The pension system needs urgent reform, Zal warned. Retirees deserve dignity, not debt. And in other developments, some blacklisted universities in the Benin Republic have allegedly teamed up with private Nigerian polytechnics to smuggle their graduates into the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC), investigations by journalists have revealed. The scheme reportedly involves Benin universities paying polytechnics mostly in the southwest and southeast to issue fake HND and ND certificates to their graduates for a fee of up to 400,000 naira, making them eligible for NYSC mobilization. Graduates confirmed paying hundreds of thousands to be processed through the schools, with some already serving in NYSC camps. Documents obtained showed fabricated matric numbers, grades, and transcripts used for the scam. While the NYSC, Education Ministry, and NBTE all denied knowledge of the fraud, Insider says its growing racket helping banned Benin institution bypass the government's suspension of their certificates. Now, 4 soldiers were killed and 5 injured when Boko Haram terrorists launched a midnight assault on a military base in Ngamdu along the Damaturu-Maiduguri Road in Borno State on Friday. Spokesperson for Operation Hadinkai, Lieutenant Colonel Ubasani, said troops repelled the coordinated attack despite the terrorists' use of grenades, drones and IEDs, inflicting heavy casualties on the insurgents. About 15 terrorists were reportedly buried after the clash. He confirmed that several military vehicles were damaged, while engineers later cleared 3 IEDs planted along the route to prevent reinforcements, prompting a temporary highway closure. Normalcy has since returned to the area, though motorists reported heavy gridlock during post-attack military checks. Reaction varies as the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Enugu State is on the brink of collapse as Governor Peter Mbah has his cabinet, lawmakers and over 260 councillors prepare to defect to the All Progressive Congress (APC) on Tuesday. The move, confirmed by Enugu APC caretaker chairman Dr. Ben Woye, marks what he described as a measure between transformation and renewed hope, signaling a major political shift in the southeast. APC leaders hailed Mbah's defection as a historic alignment that would strengthen the party's influence in the region. National Chairman Professor Nentawe Yilwada said the move would end years of opposition in Enugu, while Ima Enugu, APC's Deputy National Chairman South, declared the Southeast returned to national relevance. Meanwhile, rumors of a similar wave in Benue State involving former Governor Gabriel Suswam and ex-NAFDAC boss Paul Ohi sparked political tension. Though Suswam's aide denied his defection, APC dismissed PDP's accusation of intimidation, saying the opposition was only suffering from its self-inflicted political collapse. Now moving over to business. The president of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC), Joe Ajaero, has called for a tax off the profits of tech giants and automated industries to fund retraining and upskilling programs for workers threatened by artificial intelligence (AI). Speaking at the 2025 Labour Writers Association conference in Ibadan, Ajaero said corporations are using AI to deepen worker exploitation, erode rights, and widen inequality under the guise of efficiency. He urged unions and lawmakers to demand protective legislation, including the right to disconnect, limits on algorithmic surveillance, and shorter work weeks without pay cuts to ensure that AI benefits all workers. Ajaero also accused the Dangote refinery of violating labor rights by blocking unionization, warning that AI may be their weapon, but our collective solidarity is the intelligence they can't replicate. Now moving over to sports. Nigeria boosted their 2026 World Cup qualification chances with a 2-1 victory over Lesotho on Friday. Captain William Troost-Ekong opened the scoring from the penalty spot in the 55th minute after a Lesotho handball. Ako Adams doubled the lead in the 80th minute before Kalake pulled one back for the visitors 3 minutes later. Despite the win, Nigeria remains second in Group C with 14 points, trailing Benin Republic 17 points after their own victory. The Eagles must beat Benin in their final group match and hope rivals drop points to secure qualification. For Lesotho, the loss ends their faint hopes of making it to the World Cup. Still on sports. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has rewarded athletes and officials of Team Lagos with millions of naira following their outstanding performance at the 2025 National Youth Games in Asaba, where they emerged overall champions for the first time with 110 medals, 52 gold, 32 silver, and 26 bronze. At a reception in Ikeja, Sanwo-Olu announced 500,000 naira for each individual gold medalist, 300,000 naira for silver winners, and 250,000 for bronze medalists. Team events would get up to 1 million naira, while coaches will receive 300,000 naira each. Non-medal winning athletes were also given 100,000 naira in recognition of their efforts. The governor also gifted the Lagos State Sports Commission 25 million naira, saying the gesture was a token of appreciation for the athletes' hard work and the officials' commitment. He praised the team for writing Lagos' name in gold and pledged to improve sport facilities across the state. Director General of the Sports Commission, Lekan Fatodu, commended the governor's continued investment in youth and sport development, describing the victory as proof of his vision and unwavering support for grassroots talent. Now over to the world of entertainment. Actor and producer Alawiye is set to launch a new reality show titled Fuji Rise, aimed at celebrating and reviving Nigerians' rich Fuji music heritage. Speaking at a press conference, Alawiye said the show was inspired by his passion to make Fuji music accessible to everyone, irrespective of tribe or race, and to spotlight fresh talent in the genre. The winner of Fuji Rise will take home 5 million naira, a record deal, and other prizes, while runners-up will receive consolation rewards. According to Alawiye, Fuji has never lost its essence. It's part of our celebrations and identity. The show is about preserving that culture and giving it global appeal. To end the news round the globe, here are the main points. Peru's President Dina Boluarte has been impeached by lawmakers over corruption and rising insecurity, making Congress leader Jose Jerry Ori and the country's sixth president in 9 years. In Nigeria, Enugu Governor Peter Mbah and the top PDP officials are set to defect to the APC on Tuesday in what the ruling party calls a major political realignment in the southeast. Meanwhile, 20 children in India have died after consuming toxic cough syrup contaminated with industrial chemicals, prompting WHO to call for stricter drug safety oversight. That ends the news. For breaking news, eyewitness reports, please call 07030437110 or visit our social media handles across Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, YouTube, all at Aneke TV. I'm Deborah Wakoba. Thank you for watching.
Hello, I'm Deborah Wakoba. I am Aneke.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chinwendo Ifeanyi.
My name is Obina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV, or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
The red cap is a powerful symbol of authority, tradition, and chieftaincy. It signifies leadership, cultural identity, and a connection to the ancestors. The red cap is primarily worn by men who hold traditional titles, such as Nze, Ozo, Ichie, Chief, Onyish. The number of eagle feathers on the cap can denote the wearer's status within the chieftaincy system. The red cap comes in different shapes, and each shape represents a particular hierarchy in the traditional institution in Igbo land.
Ekelemu. Ojo kwani yeje gondo. Ndo ana toka. Onya na ana nke nya no na wo. Iba ya dino. Ogologo ndo. Aruike. No duma. Oduma yeje ne ndo anya. Na igori yeje ne ndo anya. Nelufuta muri. Imana na nsogbu. Ya olisebu wa na ekemeri. Chukwu okike. Onye ogologo ndụ na ogologo anya na-ahụ udo na ọchịchị anyị na-ekene na-ekene maka tata na-ayọ maka echi maka na ọsọ maka ebe echi anya amara na ya dịka echi na echi anaghị agwụ agwụgwụ na ihe ya adịla anyị mma ọ ya dịla onye ọ na mma idikwezo ọgbaghị nọ ya ahịa na-anọdụ na n'Igbo eke oyi nkwọ awụ ka ọ dị mma ndị be anya onwekwana ihe ọzọ na anyị enye ndị ichie jupụtara anyị na-ere nke
na be anyị mechi na ọ bụ ọkụ na anọ anyị adawo aga ọjị a na-awa ha abịa ji na ọjị na-eke ịkya na a na-agụ ya a na-ejide ọjị na-eka nri a na-emeghachi ihe kere ihe na ihe wara ihe Chineke nna kere enu ke anụ m akpọkụ ndị ezigbo mmadụ niile nọchawọrọ ndụ na-amechi ọkụ na anọ na anụ ọkụ na anọ na anụ Nkanụ na anụ Nta Egbe na-ese na anụ Enugu steeti na-asị biko na ọ bụ ha metere ihe ọma ka anyị na-asị ha gbadata ha bịa tara ọjị anyị na-asị eke ka eke ketere anyị ihe ọma anyị na-asị ahwọ ka ahwọ ghọtara anyị ihe ọma anyị na-asị nkwọ ka nkwọ kwọtara anyị ihe ọma anyị na-asị orie ka orie rutere anyị ihe ọma ihe ndị a niile ka anyị na-arịọ nna sị ka ị bịa mere anyị wetere anyị udo n'ala Igbo wetere anyị udo n'ala Naịjirịa wetere anyị ịhụnanya wetere anyị ọganihu wetere anyị ihe niile bụ ihe na-eme obodo adị mma nna biko ihe ndị a ka anyị na-arịọ kwetewo na imeworo anyị karịa ka anyị rịọrọ n'ịhwa Chineke nna kere enu ka ana bụ Chukwu okike abịama
ndị be anyị ọjị abịa anyị na-ekene osebụrụ ụwa ekene Chukwu okike nna ketara anyị oge kere igwe ka anyị na-ata ọjị anyị chọrọ iwe ọjị ị na-awa n'otu awa n'ibe achị ka ị goziela anyị taa ka ihe ọma hụkwa gwute anyị na-akpọku ndị nna nna anyị ha bụ ndị mere ọhụma goziela anyị Eke gozie Orie gozie Nkwọ mee ka ndị ọbụla na-agagharị na-achọghị ha ga-eri mee ọhụma na ndị sokwa ụzọ ọtọ ndị kwụkwara ụzọ na-eje n'ụzọ kwụrụ ọtọ soro ka iwu Chukwu ji wee dị Chukwu na anyị siri ka anyị wụọ gị a tata nde udo na ọgụ na agam niile ka ọ dịrị anyị mma ndewo anyị na-ewepụta ile ọjị na-egosi ụmụnna anyị okenye na-awa ọjị ndị ọzọ na-awa ọjị na-enye ile ọjị nsọfụrụ maka na ebe a ọ na ile ọjị a ka eji ama eziokwu iweta ọjị onye ọzọ na-asa ile ọ ga-eji na-ekwu eziokwu onye sara ile weta ile ọjị were na-ekpe ekpere were na-agọ ọhụụ ọ ga-ekwuneta eziokwu ọjị a anyị na-enye nsọfụrụ ọjị lụọ ịnọ otu a ata ya o ruo ise atakwa ya mana ọ bido ruo na asaa ịma na ị ga-egbu anụ ị ga-egbu ọkụkọ
na mbụ ọja m na-asị ekekele ụwa na ọkwa ọja ekenekwa gị n'eluigwe na ala na-ekene gị n'urukpuru na kpakpando na-ekene gị n'ugwu na ndịna na-ekene gị maka ka onye si eme ka ekwe si akpụ ya ka onye si eme ka ọja si akpụ ya ihe a bụ Aneke TV.
Kenny, also na n'ọgbọ, ọdún tí mo ẹlẹ́sẹ̀ na n'ọgbọ. Ìjẹ́lẹ̀ bí na n'ọgbọ, ìjẹ́lẹ̀.
Ndana bena bu çelenu. Çelenu bena onu.
Ìjẹ́lẹ̀ na n'ọgbọ, ìjẹ́lẹ̀ bí na n'ọgbọ. Biko, èrè fọ́tì ya na-eme. Èrè fọ́tì ya na-eme. Ọzọ ị na-eme kọchọ dị ebube. Kenny, ọzọ na n'ọgbọ, ọdún tí mo ẹlẹ́sẹ̀ na n'ọgbọ. Ìjẹ́lẹ̀ bí na n'ọgbọ, ìjẹ́lẹ̀.
Oja is a traditional Igbo wind wooden music instrument, often referred to as a talking flute, because of its ability to mimic speech patterns and convey messages. There are various types of Oja, differentiated by their pitch and functions. Oja Maun, Oja Okolobia, Oja Igede, and Oja Ukwe, the singing flute. Each holds a specific cultural significance. The Oja typically has 4 holes, 2 on opposite sides for the fingers, a mouthpiece that leads to the hollow inner chamber, and a terminal hole, similar in size to the finger hole. Oja is one of the prominent indigenous music instruments of the Igbo people. It is considered a...
Hello, I'm Febra Wakoba. I am Aneke.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chiwendo Ifeon 1.0.
My name is Obobina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV. Or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
Good morning and welcome to the Week in Retrospect. I am Deborah Wakuba.
And I'm Uche Osai. Thank you for joining us today, October the 11th. And we will be going further to give you our program review. On the Week in Retrospect, we'll set the ball rolling with our Person of the Month recognition.
Yes, and right after that, we'll bring you up-to-date news, report, and newspaper review.
All right, to our Person of the Month. The Retrospect Person of the Month recognition for October goes to Professor Ogechi Adiola, a global business and science leader.
Yes, Professor Ogechi Adeola is the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic at the University of Kigali, Rwanda, and a professor of marketing, a leading Nigerian business studies academic with over 28 years of corporate and academic expertise. She is celebrated for her work in African business, strategy, and women's empowerment. And also, she was recently named among the world's top 2% scientists in the prestigious 2025 Stanford Elsevier Global Scientist Ranking. And also, she was recognized for her outstanding contribution to the field of business and management. She holds a doctorate in business administration, DBA, from Alliance Manchester Business School, and is the founder of the digital business Tutelage of Women Empowerment in Africa Initiative, or BTWEAI. Today, we celebrate her for the award and recognition as one of the world's top 2% scientists in the prestigious 2025 Stanford Elsevier Global Scientist Ranking. Congratulations, Professor Ogechi Adeola.
Congratulations, Prof.
Now we'll be moving over to the headlines. First, let's take a look at today's newspaper headlines, starting with Punch, Vanguard, Guardian newspaper, and The Nation headline. And also on today on the Punch headline, we have Benin Varsities, Nigerian police in NYSC fraud. And on the Guardian headlines, you have Mixed Grill of Barriers, Leap Shapes Lives of Nigerians Tender Angels. And on the Nation headline, we have PDP crashes in Enugu as Mba, others join APC Tuesday. And lastly, on the Vanguard headline, we have Suicide, Nigeria on the watch. And Mr. Ocha, I'd like to know your takes on any of the headlines.
All right. Let's quickly start from the Vanguard being the last, and then perhaps close with The Nation, that has the most trending story as far as Enugu State and APC party politics is concerned in Nigeria in general. And then look at Suicide, Nigeria under watch. Now, this headline calls to attention the issue of suicide. And when you look at this very menace, we don't tend to recognize that this is a really troubling issue for the nation. We don't really care. And the Vanguard newspaper, I think, have done justice by bringing to limelight the issue of suicide in Nigeria. Now, what is the law concerning suicide in Nigeria? It's still a pre-colonial law that's still in existence in Nigeria till date, where when somebody attempts suicide and per chance or per luck, the person doesn't sell through and the person is rescued or the attempt fails. Like you would remember, there's a case at the Third Mainland Bridge where they were able to rescue this individual who was attempting suicide. Now, Nigerian law is such that you punish suicide attempts. Yes, you punish the individual for attempting suicide.
Yeah.
So from the scene of engagement where this person attempted taking his or her life, you strictly put the person in cuffs to the police station, where you put the person in the cell, and next thing the person is prosecuted and then sent to prison. From, should I say, from near the cemetery to the prison yard. At the end of the day, for someone, remember that we did take on that issue about being suicidal and suicidal thoughts.
Yes.
Now, it takes a psychosomatic shift for an individual to be want to take his or her own life. You know that that person at that instant is no longer psychologically balanced in that instant. And what do? Instead of offering the needed help to this individual to be able to be reintegrated and accept life and society for what it is, what we do is to prosecute this individual and ship the person off to the prisons. And this not ought to be so. What this individual requires is the clinic, the help that he or she would need to be able to be re-evaluated, find out the root causes of what must have pushed this person to this edge. It's because that most often is a question of giving up on situation, either the person is facing hardship, given the economic times that we live in. You understand? You see that the person is facing one challenge or the other. So what do? Cancel this individual. Try to win the person over rather than punishment. And this is prevalent in Nigeria. And I do not know, and I doubt if this is the same in other climes. So, thanks to Vanguard for bringing this to limelight. And then, the numbers in Nigeria, why is a menace, is that it's estimated that about 16,000 human lives are lost annually in Nigeria to suicide. And this number, if care is not taken, may increase, given the harshness of the economy, the harshness of the times that we live in. So, the call should be on everybody, all of us inclusive, not just the government, to be our neighbor's keeper. Watch over your neighbor, and if you see that your neighbor is tilting towards a shift in character, where you see somebody that's been outspoken, talkative, very outgoing, so withdrawn to himself, not communicating with people any longer, no longer moving out. Try to find out what has happened. Try to find out if there is a situation that the person is undergoing through and offer the needed help. The families as well, and government in this instance. And I would call on the Nigerian legislature to see to it that this archaic law be tilted with, such that would accommodate this very individual to be able to reevaluate, send the person the needed help to see that we'll move this person away from whatever may have pushed him into suicidal thoughts to reintegrating that person as first as a human being away from his challenges, letting the person know that there is hope beyond the graveyard. Yeah. And then over to the other paper, the Nation newspaper, where we are seeing that
PDP crashes.
PDP crashes, and then the governor is being expected to join the ruling All Progressive Party, the APC. Debbie, this headline, or a headline like this, it's been long we've been expecting this. You understand? Given all the indices of what is happening in Nigeria in this era, one would expect that this should have happened long ago. Then today we are seeing that PDP is crashing. It's not news that PDP is crashing. Remember, over time, we said that we've spoken to that crack in the PDP, and if it is not dealt with, that it is not just a crack that we see, that is as a result of a structural imbalance that needs to be taken care of. And if it doesn't, it will not only crack, it will implode. And then, this is the only remaining governor of the PDP in Southeast. And today we are being told that by Tuesday, the formalities it will be a formality, because when you get to see it on the pages of newspaper,
yeah, it's already happening.
It's happened already. It's not that it's happening, it has happened.
Okay.
You understand? This is a mere celebration of the fact of what has happened in the kitchen. You know, when you do the cookings in the kitchen, then by the time everybody starts to perceive the aroma, the food is almost done.
Yeah.
So what we're witnessing is the gathering at the dining table to celebrate the cooking.
Okay.
The cooking is done. And as far as I'm concerned, at this point in time, the food is already done. He has migrated, he has moved to the APC. In fact, while speaking to the present caretaker chairman of the APC over the weekend, while I didn't, he didn't let out the cat out of the bag. And this morning, I had to send him a congratulatory message. For him to be able to achieve that feat, it's not easy to get a sitting governor to leave his political party to join you in another party. However, PDP have begun to raise concern that these individuals, these governors who are decamping from across the federation are being coerced. Now, if they are being coerced, what alternative do they have? Have you put your house in order? As far as we know, PDP has not put their house in order. There's still internal crisis, internal wranglings. And the nature of politicians is that they have to be on a sound footing where they are sure to get their tickets and to get back to office. No politician gambles with that. And I wouldn't think that the governor of Enugu State should be criticized for not wanting to gamble his political future. And we are well aware that the whole structure of PDP in Enugu State is moving with the sitting governor. So we don't know how they are going to be able to revive that again, being that Enugu State, the Southeast, has been a strong base for the PDP. And obviously, PDP have lost that. And when they've lost Southeast, I can categorically tell you that PDP may not be able to come back from that if they don't do anything to be able to wrestle the East, Southeast, from the ruling APC and other political parties in this instance. But in as much as we've been told that the governor is moving with all the councillors, 260 councillors in Enugu State, all the elected and appointed officials of the government in Enugu State, one question that still remains to be answered is, will the masses of Enugu State be decamping with the governor? Is yet to be seen.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. Now we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll take you throughout the newspaper headlines for the week.
Hello, I'm Febra Wakoba. I am Chidimike Mede.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chiwendo Ifeonwankwe.
My name is Obina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV, or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
You're still watching the retrospect on Aneke TV. Now we're taking a look at the headline from Monday. On the Vanguard headline, we have $92 billion lithium rush leaves Nigerian investors behind. And on the Punch headline, we have terrorism, retired generals back calls for state of emergency. And the Guardian headline, we have government may earn 1 trillion naira yearly from capital gains as new tax courses there. And in the Nation headline, we have Tinubu to Northern Christians, I'll remain fair to all religions.
All right, Jamie, let's take a look at the Punch, having that it deals with the issue of insecurity. Yeah, the Punch here talks about terrorism and the retired generals backing the call for state of emergency. And maybe I quite agree with them. You remember that when we discussed this in the course of the week, yes, I said this is the right way to go. We didn't need to wait for the retired generals to call attention to the level of insecurity that we're experiencing in Nigeria for us to declare a state of emergency on insecurity. A state of emergency is not only when you have to remove a sitting governor or elected officials in a particular state. You can declare a state of emergency on a situation, and the Nigerian case has become a sorry state that if we do not declare state of emergency as when it comes to insecurity or declare state of emergency or security, then we may not be able to combat effectively insecurity in Nigeria. What's the scenario in Nigeria? Travel from Maiduguri, from Borno State, down to Bayelsa, the story is all the same. Travel through Bayelsa to Kwara State, to Ogun State, the story is similar. Where in Nigeria do you say that people are safe? I don't know the place in Nigeria where people go to bed with their two eyes closed. You get to hear every morning fresh kidnapping, fresh crisis, killings here and there. It's gotten to a point in our nation where the human life is no longer sacrosanct. We no longer have respect for human life. When we hear that 10 people are killed, we'll move on as if nothing happened. And a nation like Israel goes to war for a single soul that is lost. And in this country, every day, you open pages of newspaper, you will see lives lost, as if human lives don't matter. And to bring this point home, Debbie, when you look at what happened in Kwara State the other day, it becomes quite appalling that we do not consider the sacrosanct and the sanctity of human life. When you go to Kwara State, see the way people were mowed down in their houses, in their community, it cause for concern. And what more worrisome, that we begin to say that there has to be a panel of inquiry to really investigate what has happened in Kwara, for example. Is it a case of sabotage or collusion? And they should indeed find out what happened, not just giving rhetoric or giving us talks about this and that. No, let us see and understand what really happened. Is it that there are certain individuals who are colluding with these animals to come and desecrate the sanctity of human lives in our state? Go to Kwara, people went to bed believing that the state, their nation will protect them, but they didn't know that that would be the sleep to eternity. People were mowed down. Even a leader, a community leader, a ballet in a community was killed, leaving behind 2 wives and about 6 children. What will be the fate of these ones? These are we're talking about the economic woes of this nation, and we are compounding it, creating more crisis. At the end of the day, we'll say that the number of criminals are on the increase, but we are creating situations that would warrant that. Tell me, if these 2 wives of this dead community leader is not able to fend and take care of their children, they end up in the street. At the end of the day, how are you able to check that these children don't end up at the den of the Boko Haram or these terrorists or bandits? They'll become easy targets for recruitment. And these are the situations. So while we've listened to the case of Kwara State, where the vigilantes try to repel the attack, but we are overcome by the fireworks from the assailants. They gave in that they've called attention to the fact that their weapons were withdrawn from them in the name of servicing, that they withdrew their ammunition and their bullets from them just on that very day that they want to service it a certain military personnel. And I call that yes, this very military personnel be called to give an account, because like we did say, on that very night the witch cried, then in the morning the baby died. What do you want to think? Let him come and really tell us. So I will be very, very sure that there is no collusion here. So giving to the generals, calling for a state of emergency as regards security, Debbie, I can tell you that it is not only germane, but is timely. Yes, we've listened to the president the other day talking about a creation of state police, but in this moment we don't know what have come of it. Enjoining the retired generals, Lucky, Irabo, and them to call for a state of emergency. But I want to add, if they cannot declare a state of emergency as of today, then let them give more power to community policing. The issue of the vigilantes, these people know the terrain. Let everybody have the right to bear weapon to secure their own environment. So that these killings will stop. Go through Benue State and see people are in ID camp when Nigeria is not at war. Which kind of country is that? It means that the government is failing in its primary responsibility, which is that of securing life and property. And it's quite uncalled for. And calling for state of emergency at this time is not only apt, but very timely, Debbie.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Well, with the rise of insecurity, we plead on the federal government to act swiftly. Now we'll be moving over to the next paper headline from Tuesday that's on Vanguard that says collapsed roads making unbearable for travelers. And on the Punch headline, it says Pengasan fires back as Shatima defends Dangote. And the Guardian headlines, it reports Nelfon kicks as institutions hike tuition fees, charges for profit. And the Nation headline, we have President to all workers avoid strike that undermines economy.
All right, Debbie, let's take a look at the Nation and perhaps the Vanguard bear the same headline. Okay. So let's speak to this. We've listened to the Vice President in his speech, talking to Pengasan, warning them that they should desist, that no single individual is bigger than the country, and that Dangote is an institution as far as the Nigerian economy is concerned, and should be given that right of place. In as much as we appreciate what Dangote is doing as an investor in our climb, being that he, when you go through most important sectors of our economy, we see his imprints there. And yes, while we recognize that he has to be given a right of place, what we are saying is that in as much as we celebrate the federal government for the timely resolution and resolving that crisis between Pengasan and the Dangote refineries, we want to call everyone's attention to the fact that they shouldn't use rhetorics and talks to escalate or bring about any further crisis. Remember, we started from Nupeng, then Pengasan. We don't know which other organization that will take on Dangote refineries again. But what we're saying is that in as much as the Vice President is within his right to call attention to the place of Dangote in Nigeria, and he has that freedom to air his view and mind how he wants, we are saying that we shouldn't be able to, we shouldn't engender more crisis through rhetorics. And in this case, in as much as what Pengasan is asking for is right and within their constitutional duty and their constitutional bound to ask for the right of their workers, unionized workers, who happens to be with Dangote, then fair enough. I don't think that should be seen as sabotage or wanting to hold Dangote to ransom. But like I did say during that era, that if this is beyond the issue of unionizing and their other tune and hearkening to sabotage, then Pengasan should be called to order. And in that case, the Vice President has done very eloquently in calling their attention. However, Dangote refinery on their part should be made to be accountable, obey every agreement that they've entered into, and if they are operating outside the Nigerian constitution, they should be called to order to operate in line with Nigerian constitution and what Nigerian constitution has said, that every Nigerian and every worker has the right to freedom of association. Us, you have a right to unionize if you so choose to, so far as you're not being coerced into joining any association. So you have a right to belong to any association you want to be involved in. And in this case, Dangote refinery shouldn't be seen to be impeding the right of workers to be unionized. After all, what we're saying is that they should operate under the ambient of the law. Let Nigerian law be the prerequisite and the focal point of any operation that they are involved in, yes. Like the Pengasin have replied the vice president that no individual, no institution, not the presidency is bigger than Nigeria. At the end of the day, there's a common consensus amongst all of them that Nigeria is bigger, Nigeria is greater than all of us. So let Dangote Refinery operate under the law, let Pengasin operate under the law, and let our institutions, our government, let everybody operate under the law. We'll use the law as our standing point.
Yeah.
I do not see or believe that we'll begin to see warning strike or industrial actions like Pengasin did try to engage.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much for that. Now we'll be moving over to our next paper from Wednesday, coming from Punch headline that says countdown to 2027, Tinubu to pick new INEC chair this week. And also in the Guardian headline, we have anxiety lingers over insecurity, fate of displaced person. And in the Daily Trust, we have Amiopitan may emerge INEC chair. And lastly, in the Nation, we have certificate scandal, Naji resigns ministerial position.
All right, let's speak to the Nation newspaper again, being that it has an issue that we say is not yet stale. The other news in the other headlines of those other newspapers still reoccurred within the week and could be more clarified in that area.
Yeah.
But looking at the Nation newspaper, talking about certificate scandal involving the Minister of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Uche Nnaji, who has resigned from that position. Now, Debbie, while we're talking or celebrating his resignation from his position as a result of this very certificate scandal, one has to call to attention the fact that he was screened before he became a minister. How did he get to that position if he had forged certificates? Was he not screened for the position? Now, like we've said, today is Uche Nnaji, and over time, we've seen certain individuals who resign, who are forced to resign from their position as a result of similar scandals. But a point we'll have to make here is that Uche Nnaji, for instance, was a candidate of the ruling political party, APC, in 2023 general election, vying for the post of the governor of Enugu State. He was screened by his political party. How did he scale through? Now, beyond his political party, how did he scale through INEC screening? They cleared him. Fortunately or unfortunately, he lost out in the race. And then a different person became the governor. Now he was appointed minister. Before being appointed a minister, he was equally meant to undergo certain screening. And these were called the presidency to account. Was it that they didn't do their due diligence before he was appointed into that very position? And if he did, they screened him. So how come they were not able to dictate the fact that he had forged credentials? And now, over to the Department of State Security, whose fault it is to screen individuals. How come they had an oversight on this issue? Or is it a case of an oversight or issue of selective amnesia or selective silence that has happened? How come that they were able to dictate the state security of all people, given the enormous amount of Nigerian resources that is being budgeted for the state security, that they overlooked or were not able to dictate the fact that Uche Nnaji had a forged certificate? Is that possible? Those are the questions that we want to ask. And then to the National Assembly that screened him and told him to bow and go, how come we are not able to detect that he has a forged certificate? These are the issues, perhaps for another day, of how our system is not functioning up to the level and standard that is expected of it. Now, coming to the issue of this scandal itself, now the question is to the institution again, because listening to the communique from the camp of Uche Nnaji, he is saying that he is being a target of opposition's propaganda and blackmail. If that is the case, I know that he is in court trying to prove his innocence, that he had a right this thing. But another issue that we should call to attention is the institution itself, University of Nigeria and Nsukka, that is involved in all this. We've seen a letter, a publique, that issued by a certain Onyado on behalf of the registrar, certain to the fact that Uchenna did gain admission in University of Nigeria and did graduate in 1985. And if that's the case, his name were shown is in the brochure of those that graduated and in the convocation brochure. And how come his name was there? Who put his name there? How did he get to that point? And that communique from the registrar, why was it intended to mislead the public? So these are where inquiries and where we need to clarify us. And then coming to 2025, the school is now coming out again to tell us that he did not graduate. So there has to be satellites on this very institution. And they say that all the alumni of this very institution need to sit on one board, being apprehensive if their institution known to stand for the restoration of the dignity of man can no longer stand gallantly on the side of truth and clear enough for people to know what the truth is, then it gives room for questioning. And they should be quite apprehensive of their institution that they cannot give clarity when it is required. Having said that, Debbie, it's quite unfortunate that in Nigeria we love to embellish a lot of things. What is the requirement for you to be a minister in Nigeria? What is the requirement to be a governor in Nigeria? You don't even need your BSc or your BA certificate to be a governor in Nigeria. What does he say? You just need either your O-level examination, in some cases, be able to show that you passed primary Cs. And we've seen somebody rule this nation with primary Cs. So what's the essence of embellishing your record if you do not have it? Remember the issue of Kemi Adolshin. She has to be whisked away from Nigeria in the middle of the night to escape from being prosecuted. And then this one again. Over the years, this has been a recurrent issue since 1999. You'll think of the Toronto scandal, Salisu Buhari, the then Speaker of the House of Rep. Beyond that, there has been issues of forgery. Look at the case of a former senior president whom we don't know how to address, either as Evan or Evans. At the end of the day, nothing was heard of these issues. And today, in 2025, we are still faced with such scandal forgery. So why do we have to embellish what we do not have? Why do you have to embellish your record? Show us that, yeah, I did stop at secondary school or I stopped at OND, but over years I've acquired experiences that position me to be able to handle such office. And everybody moves on. At the end of the day, there won't be issues like this. So it's quite unfortunate that at this time, when we are still talking about the brand Nigeria and we are trying to point fingers to the laptop boys as the ones who are rubbishing the brand Nigeria, I must tell them that it is the leaders now who are distorting and disrupting this brand, giving it in a bad light, and it's quite unfortunate.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. Now we're moving over to our next paper coming on Thursday from the Guardian headline that says World Bank, Nigerians reforms yielded stability, not relief for poor. And Vanguard headline that says new INEC chair for Council of States preview today. And the Nation headline says how reforms are bringing down poverty by presidency. And also from the Punch headline that says presidency rejects World Bank's poverty report.
All right, Debbie, without wanting to dwell much on this, it is what it is. The World Bank has come out to tell you that, yes, though your reform seems to be stabilizing the economy, but is not translating to the life of the people, is not giving or showing any impact on the life of the people, being that poverty is still on the increase. And by World Bank standard, they are saying that about 139 million Nigerians are still living in poverty. And that should give room for concern, rather than the government telling us to ignore the reports from the World Bank that their statistics could be wrong, being that it is based on the benchmark of 2017, where they draw the analysis on the global poverty line of $2.something per day, which in their tabulation is around $100,000, and the 70,000 minimum wage in Nigeria is lower than that. And they are saying that we should ignore them. But the question is this: if we are to ignore the World Bank report on this, what is the fortune from your reforms? The question is to the Nigerian people, do you feel any better today? When you go to market, do you get things cheaper? Is your life any better than it was before these reforms? So these are where the impacts should be assessed, not just in ignoring. And it should be a wake-up call on our government to move away from the token economics and be able to have policies that should be able to impact people. You know, when I listen to the government talking about conditional cash transfers to the poorest of the poor, and I ask, I have not seen any single individual who is a beneficiary from this conditional cash transfer. So where are these poor people? Who are these poor people? What are the criteria to determine the poor amongst us? Where are they sharing this from? And whatever token you've given them, is it enough to move them away from poverty? These are the questions that we should ask. Talking about the Renewed Hope World Development Project, where they target the 8,809 wards that we have in Nigeria as a means of development. And I call to question, must development be geared towards or imbued with politics, where you have to seek whatever development you have to do through the wards? Why not have a policy that is cohesive and general enough to move people away from poverty? Rather than politicizing whatever we do in this nation, we should see to it that our policies are such that you don't need to be a Mr. A or Mr. B or no Mr. C or Mr. D for you to be a beneficiary of government policy. Let's have a government policy that will drive growth, increase production in the nation, that when you go to markets, there is availability of goods such that whatever you're making, whatever your take home is such that you will be able to afford the basic needs of life. And this is where the policies should be geared towards, not the era of trader money and all that. So, for us to be able to ignore the World Bank like the federal government wants us to do, then they should give us a realistic alternative where there is hope in this nation, where people know that their effort pays off, not a selective upliftment of certain individual in the society. No. And again, one thing one may ask is where does the federal government drive these policies from? Still from IMF, the World Bank. So my question is it that when the policies are well implemented, the World Bank, the IMF would sing praises and take praises, and where their policies didn't go out the way they want, they heap the blame on the government? These are the questions that needs to be answered.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Now we'll be moving over to our paper yesterday, being Friday. Now, headline from The Nation says Amupitan's nomination as INEC chairman gets support. And the Punch headline also says Amupitan faces tough test as new INEC chair. And the Guardian headline says 85% unreached as Nigerian buckles under massive care group gap. And then the Vanguard headline says accommodation crisis hits varsities, students, parents will.
All right. First of all, I don't know if at this point in time it may be right to say congratulations to Professor Joash Amupitan, being that he's the nominee of Mr. President for the position of chairman of INEC. I say, I don't know if it's time yet, because I know that he will still undergo clearing from the National Assembly. But one knows that the way Nigeria is wired in these times, when he gets to the National Assembly, is most likely we are going to let him sing on your mandate we stand, or he will take a bow and go. Whichever way it goes, we want to say congratulations to Professor Amupitan, who's been said to be a senior advocate of Nigeria and an astute administrator, being that he is a deputy vice chancellor administration from the UniJOS and a pro-chancellor of the Babalola University. Professor Amupitan, we know, is from Ayetorobede in Ijumu local government area of Kogi State, and he says to be specialized on the area of law of evidence. So one may think that he is quite eminently qualified for the position, being that the presidency has let us know that he was appointed to that position based on his record of integrity and that he is one that is apolitical, right? So, having said all that, it may be that we've gotten a very credible and competent individual to man the chairmanship of INEC, though despite the fact that I'm beginning to hear feelers, get feelers that the records as we are seeing it may not be correct, but it still stands to be clear, because I read somewhere yesterday, somebody was saying that the CV as packaged by the presidency is calling for a question that it doesn't correlate from when he finished primary to when he did secondary, and between the number of years he spent to be able to get his degree in law and a lot of things. But I hope that at the floor of the Senate that this will be cleared. Then, speaking to the issue at hand, the headline, where they talk about any more tasks before him, I can categorically tell you that the task before him is being the same task before anybody will appoint as the chairman of INEC in Nigeria. And in this instance, the onus is on him to see if he will be able to overcome this task. And what are these tasks that we are looking up to him this time around? You know that over time, let me just speak to, since the conduct of the 2023 election, that INEC has been marred in a lot of crisis of lack of confidence. The citizens I do not believe, have confidence in INEC again. So that is a very big issue. When, as an umpire, the masses who are the electors do not trust in your ability to conduct a free and fair election, it becomes a serious issue. And once there's crisis of confidence, then whatever you do will be questioned. So part of the expectation is that Professor Amipitan should be able to engender public confidence on INEC under his leadership. And part of what we are looking at this time around, which is part of the task that's been expected for him to surmount, is that he should be loyal to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and to the people of Nigeria, the masses, and not to the ruling APC or to the president who has appointed him. Let it not be a question of he that pays the piper dictating the tune. No, he should know that his powers are being driven from the Constitution and from the people of this nation, are the ones whom he has to give account to, and therefore that should be a guiding principle in whatever he does in office. And again, it's expected that he should be at the front burner or the front run campaigning for reforms, electoral reforms. For, since 2023, the clamor for electoral reform has been there and nothing is being said about it. And in this time around, we want to see an INEC chairman that will lead for those electoral reform. And what are part of the things we are looking for in this electoral reform? For example, the appointment of Amupitan is in a climb where we have veritable electoral reforms, veritable process. It shouldn't be the president who himself will be in the ballot in 2027 to be the one to appoint an INEC chairman. That shouldn't be the case. Rather, we are saying there should be a process, there should be institutionalized process that is able to trump up the best candidate for this position, and not coming from a president who himself will be a candidate in this election. So these are the things we are calling for in electoral reforms. And then part of the things, the task that he has to surmount is beyond the issue of electoral reform, is the issue of adherence to the rule of law. Now, one may begin to look at, since 1999, but it has increased since 2015 to date. A lot of our elections are being determined in the court. It's no longer the electorate deciding who will be their governor. The case of Imo State, where someone that came fourth in the election was declared the winner by the court. Beyond that, we've seen even in 2023, a whole electioneering process ended up in litigation where we needed the court to really make a pronouncement. So we should be able to have a process that is very transparent to take us from the court determining who our leaders are, but the people are able to elect and choose their leaders, and INEC should be seen to be transparent enough to uphold that process, to see that votes count. And those are the tasks before Professor Amupitan, if he sails through at the National Assembly. And we expect that he will say through. So let me just say congratulations before that.
All right, thank you very much. Well, that is all for the week in retrospect. We reviewed the paper for throughout this week. And please do not forget to drop your views with hashtag retrospect on Aneke TV across our social media feeds from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
All right. So thank you for cruising with us on the week in retrospect. Until we come your way, same time next week. I remain your host, Uche Osai.
Yes, and I'm Deborah Wakoba. Bye-bye.
Hello, I'm Deborah Wakoba. I am Aneke.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chiwendo Ifeanyi.
My name is Obina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV, or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
The red cap is a powerful symbol of authority, tradition, and chieftaincy. It signifies leadership, cultural identity, and a connection to the ancestors. The red cap is primarily worn by men who hold traditional titles, such as Nze, Ozo, Ichie, Chief, Onyish. The number of eagle feathers on the cap can denote the wearer's status within the chieftaincy system. The red cap comes in different shapes, and each shape represents a particular hierarchy in the traditional institution in Igbo land.
Ibai. Ekelemu. Ojo kwani yeje gondo. Ndo ana toka. Onya na ana nke nya no na wo. Ibai adino. Ogologo ndo. Aruike. No duma. Oduma yeje ne ndo anya. Na onye ngori yeje ne ndo anya. Elufuta muri ya. Imana nsogbu ya olise bụ anyị na-ekene Chukwu okike onye ogologo ndụ na ogologo anya na-ahụ udo na ọchịchị anyị na-ekene na-ekene maka tata na-ayọ maka echi maka na ọsọ maka ebe echi anya mara na anyị adịka echi na echi anaghị agwụ agwụgwụ na ihe ya adịrị anyị mma ọ ya dịrị onye ọ na mma idikwezo ọgbaghị nọ ya ahịa n'ọdụ na n'Igbo eke oyi nkwọ awụ ka ọ dị mma ndị be anya onwekwana ihe ọzọ na anyị enye ndị ichie jupụtara anyị na-ere nke
na be anyị mechi na ọ bụ ọkụ na anọ anyị adawo aga ọjị a na-awa ha abịa ji na ọjị na-eke ịkya na a na-agụ ya a na-eji ọjị na-eka nri a na-emeghachi ihe kere ihe na ihe wara ihe Chineke nna kere enu ke anụ m akpọkụ ndị ezigbo mmadụ niile nọchawọrọ ndụ na-amechi ọkụ na anọ na anụ ọkụ na anọ na anụ Nkanụ na anụ Nta Egbe na-ese na anụ Enugu steeti na-asị biko na ọ bụ ha metere ihe ọma ka anyị na-asị ha gbadata ha bịa tara ọjị anyị na-asị eke ka eke ketere anyị ihe ọma anyị na-asị ahwọ ka ahụ ghọtara anyị ihe ọma anyị na-achị nkwọ ka nkwọ kwọtara anyị ihe ọma anyị na-achị orie ka orie rutere anyị ihe ọma ihe ndị a niile ka anyị na-arịọ nna sị ka ị bịa mere anyị wetere anyị udo n'ala Igbo wetere anyị udo n'ala Naịjirịa wetere anyị ịhụnanya wetere anyị ọganihu wetere anyị ihe niile bụ ihe na-eme obodo adị mma nna biko ihe ndị a ka anyị na-arịọ kwetewo na imeworo anyị karịa ka anyị rịọrọ n'ịhwa Chineke nna kere enu ka ana bụ Chukwu okike abịama
ndị be anyị ọjị abịa anyị na-ekene osebụrụ ụwa ekene Chukwu okike nna ketara anyị oge kere igwe ka anyị na-ata ọjị anyị chọrọ iwe ọjị ị na-awa n'otu awa n'ibe asị ka ị goziela anyị taa ka ihe ọma hụkwa gwute anyị na-akpọku ndị nna nna anyị ha bụ ndị mere ọhụma goziela anyị Eke gozie Orie gozie Nkwọ mee ka ndị ọbụla na-agagharị na-achọghị ha ga-eri mee ọhụma na ndị sokwa ụzọ ọtọ ndị kwụkwara ụzọ na-eje n'ụzọ kwụrụ ọtọ soro ka iwu Chukwu ji wee dị Chukwu na anyị siri ka anyị wụọ gị a tata nde udo na ọgụ na agamnihu ka ọ dịrị anyị mma ndewo anyị na-ewepụta ile ọjị na-egosi ụmụnna anyị okenye na-awa ọjị ndị ọzọ na-awa ọjị na-ele enye ile ọjị nsọfụrụ maka na ebe a nọ na ile ọjị a ka eji ama eziokwu iweta ọjị onye ọzọ na-asa ile ọ ga-eji na-ekwu eziokwu onye sara ile weta ile ọjị were na-ekpe ekpere were na-aga ọhụụ ọ ga-ekwuneta eziokwu ọjị a anyị na-enye nsọfụrụ ọjị ruo ịnọ otu a ata ya o ruo ise atakwa ya mana o bido ruo na asaa ịma na ị ga-egbu anụ ị ga-egbu ọkụkọ.
Hi, and you're welcome to today's episode on Health Awareness Matters, that is Health Matters, right here on Aneke TV. So across Nigeria and other parts of the world, cholera remains one of the most persistent threats to public health. It's fast, it's dangerous, but then it's also very preventable. Now, what cholera really is, why it spreads so quickly, and most importantly, how you and your loved ones can stay safe. Now, with us in the studio today is Dr. Taiwo Kolawole, and he is the director CAT Medical Services right here in Enugu State. Is a public health specialist who has first-hand experience with community health campaigns. And we'll also be hearing from you, our viewers, through your comments across all our social media platforms on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and right here on YouTube, all at Aneke TV. So stay tuned. This is a conversation that could save lives. So moving on, let's meet our guest today. Good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon, doctor. It's good to have you on the show. It's today we are talking about cholera. You know, cholera has become should I call it a plague, or should I call it a pandemic? But then, what exactly is cholera, and how does it affect people?
Excuse me, please. It's a bacterial infection that affects human beings, transmitted in different forms. Maybe, let me just say, through poor hygiene.
Okay.
You can get it through food. You can get it through water. You can get it through the environment. So there are different ways that you can get cholera.
Okay. Okay, so can you help us understand how and why cholera spreads so rapidly, especially in crowded or under-resourced areas?
You know, it's transmitted through food and water. Especially in this part of the country, or do I say in this part of the world, where our hygiene situation is not too good.
Okay.
For people who are infected when they defecate in open places. It's like Africans just have this this culture of you want to pee, you want to defecate, just look for the nearest bush or the nearest hidden place. Even when we see a toilet here, we're not ready to enter that toilet. We want to urinate in the bush.
They will tell you the breeze is
on the
passing.
gutter. And when you do that, you excrete those bacteria.
Okay.
And it's on the floor, it's on the grass. Children go there and play. They play football. The ball is there. It rubs on the ball. They carry the ball. It rubs on their body. And while they are playing, they are licking their finger. Or they just get apple, orange, and they are sucking. They're already taking it in. And then when we have, you know, overcrowded places like Obiagu, Abapa, you know, when you come to some of those places, you see the sewage system.
Okay.
It's not too organized and it's exposed. You see a gutter here, a woman is selling pawpaw. The pawpaw she has cut and she's displaying on the tray. You understand? And while she's cutting, the knife falls down. She picks the knife. Even some of them without washing, she begins to cut again. So that's why it makes it easy for the thing to spread.
Okay, so let's shift to solutions, because cholera we know is very preventable, we know. So what practical steps can people take at home and in their communities to stop cholera before it starts?
Before it starts. We've always agreed that prevention is better than cure. So what we have to do is to adopt proper hygiene. Before you eat, you want to wash your hand. Make sure you wash your hand with soap and water before you eat. You've gone to toilet and you are coming out, wash your hand. Even if you are not living in flats, most of us have booters in front of our doors. Make sure that you get clean water, cover your booter, so that, and then you have a permanent dispenser there. So that when you come out from toilet, you can either open the tap or somebody helps you to get water. Wash your hand with soap and water before you enter or before you eat. Because if you got it from the toilet, you know, most times we have public toilets. If you can get it from the toilet. Somebody who has it, when he touches the handle of the toilet, in opening the toilet, he has transmitted it. And you are coming, you are opening the same door, you have gotten it. So when you come and you wash your hand, you are washing it off. That is one. Then secondly, the way we prepare our food is also very important. We should not expose our food. Our cutleries should be well kept and washed before we use them, and even after using them. And then, for those who live in public yards, make sure that, you know, sometimes you are cooking, the pot is open, you are not even covering it. You understand? So we have to take those precautions. And then when you talk of water, we suggest that people boil their water. Though by standard, we say drink boiled, chlorinated water. But who has money in Africa? Who will listen to you that he wants to chlorinate water?
You know, some people use this thing they call alum.
Alum.
So I don't know. So I would
No,
like you
what
to tell
alum
us.
does is to separate
the
dirt, the solutes,
okay,
from the water.
It doesn't purify.
It doesn't purify the water.
Okay.
It doesn't affect the bacteria. So it's better you boil your water before you drink. Boil it. Have a good container where you keep your boiled water before you drink. Then the government also has a major part to play.
Okay.
Government has a major part. Though the government is trying, they are trying, but funding is very important. Because like the federal agency, the Nigerian Disease and Nigerian Disease Control and Prevention Agency, is that they are the primary federal agency lead to take care of this. They are trying. The state governments too are trying. But some of these agencies do not have enough funding to take care of this. To take care of this, especially as it has to do with how do I put it now? Jingles, that's informing the public about this cholera control, what it has to do, because you know it affects the masses mostly. And you need to get into the midst of the masses to talk to them at the Federal Ministry of Environment, Federal Ministry of Health, getting the communities together, explaining what cholera is, how dangerous it is, because it can kill within few hours and few days.
Okay.
So
can,
you need to let them know.
Can you walk us through the progression of cholera? Like since you said it kills within hours and few hours and days, can you like walk us through the progression, how it starts, the first stage? Does it have what in stages?
Yeah, you see, once you start seeing the symptoms, yes, within a few hours or depending on how strong your immune system is. You see some people vomiting. You know, it's a diarrheal disease. Vomiting and stooling. And once you see somebody vomiting and stooling, that person is losing fluid. And one major component of the human body is fluid. Water is very important. It takes about 90% of the composition of the body. Once you lose water, the cells and other enzymes and chemicals in the body cannot really function as they should function. So when you are losing fluid, the body begins to react. So you see them losing weight, the eye is going in, you see them having cramps, your mouth becomes dry, and before you know it, they can get into the state of shock. You understand? That is why, because you are losing fluid in two ways. And the problem is you are vomiting, you try to drink water, you are still vomiting.
Oh, so at this point, it means it doesn't even let you eat anything
It doesn't even allow you to. But what we say is, no matter the extent of vomit, keep drinking. Keep drinking. Because you will not vomit 100%.
Okay.
Maybe vomit
there's
90%.
this kind of water, this solution.
Yes, ORS.
Okay, that also. So instead of drinking the normal, so is it better you take ORS than taking water?
No, yes, when we talk of
situation?
taking water, it's not just ordinary water.
Okay.
Better you take ORS, oral rehydration solution. Is sold in the chemists and pharmacy shops, and you can do it in your home. All you need to do is get a boiled water, put about 6 level teaspoon in it. That should be 1 liter of water. 1 liter of water, Ragolis water. You can use that, and then put about half teaspoon of salt. Shake it very well. You can be taking it. Now it replaces the water. It also replaces the sugar and the salt you are losing in the body. So it helps, keeps you at least rehydrated till you're able to get medical attention. And we also sometimes, you can take coconut water. No, coconut water is not ordinary water. It's not ordinary water. It has other nutrients in it. You can take coconut water. You can take what we call rice water. You know, when you are cooking rice, you parboil.
Okay, that very first water you use in washing the rice. Okay.
Not the one you use in washing the rice.
That's after the parboiling part of it now.
You can give it to the person to take.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's fluid, and it has some carbohydrate there, some nutrients there. You can give the person to drink coconut water. You can also give the person a little bit salted vegetable water to drink. You understand? So those things keep rehydrating the body. So those are some of the things you have to do.
Okay. All right. So talking about some cultural beliefs or myth about cholera, some people have a lot of beliefs about cholera. So what kind of beliefs or misconceptions have you heard about cholera so that we can debunk them now before people will see cholera and call it something else?
It's not just cultural beliefs, it's cultural and religious beliefs.
Okay.
When people start vomiting and stooling, you can say, well, maybe it's an attack. Christians may say it's an attack.
Okay, village people.
Juju people can say they did the enchantment and the demon has caught the person. Some people can say that he has taken abomination culturally. He has done something abominable. In as much as we are not saying it may not be possible, all we are saying is that if you see somebody vomiting and stealing, at least you have to stop it first. Even if it's attack, even if it's demon, Satan, or whatever it may be, try and stop it first physically. First aid is important. Get the person to the hospital. And I'm sure they'll be able to stop it.
Okay. In cholera, it mostly affects women and children. Because in most of the cases we've heard, it's majorly the women and the children. Now, how can they be protected from cholera?
It affects all.
Yeah.
But since you said mostly...
Statistically, it affects most women and children.
Children and women are more involved in food and water. You understand? It's the woman that does the cooking.
Okay.
It's the children that do the playing around. That the people who roll on the floor. That the people who crawl. That the people who get it. And a woman cannot watch the baby vomiting and stooling and stay away. She will carry her baby. Even if you tell her this baby has infection, she will tell you, leave it, it's my baby, it's my baby. She will carry the baby. And as she's carrying the baby and the baby is vomiting on her, and she's cleaning, some women, before you know it, she has used her mouth to even suck say something is blocking the nose, let me suck, she's sucking it. So that is why it's easy for women and children to get it. So, but when the mothers are well informed, and you see your child vomiting and stooling, the next thing you do is to try and look for glove. You want to get a glove to wear, you can send someone to get you a glove. You want to get a cloth that will not be will not be able to transmit it. If you have this raincoat, you can quickly put on your raincoat, put on your glove, carry your baby. You know, raincoat is made of nylon. Carry your baby, clean up the baby, do what you have to do. Make sure you don't put that hand in your mouth. Take care of your baby. You can remove the glove, you can remove the raincoat.
In that emergency period, are you sure she remember there's something called raincoat and gloves?
Training sometimes help. Okay. You know, awareness is important. You know, when you are aware of it, you know you can get it. So you want to protect yourself first.
Come back to discuss
or else, both of you become casualty.
Okay.
And both of you can be lost. So in a bit to save the child, for you to save that child, you must be healthy. Definitely. You understand? But if the situation is too emergency and you cannot do that, okay, take care of the baby, but make sure that having done that, you are not put your hand in your mouth. And when you are through, go in, remove all the clothes. Okay. Don't drop them in your room. Drop them in a bowl on their own. Take your shower, bath yourself, get the toy, get disinfectant, bath, change your clothes, change everything. Then that cloth you have used, find a way to properly wash and disinfect it.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. This is Health Matters on Aneke TV. I am Amaka Nijan. With me in the studio is Dr. Taiwo Kolawole, who is the Director of CATS Medical Services, Enugu. And we are discussing cholera, its preventive measures, and we're trying to create awareness for cholera outbreak in Nigeria. So we're going to show a commercial break now, and when we return, we'll be talking about the preventive measures and find out ways we can actually curb the menace of cholera spreading across the nation. Do not go anywhere.
Aqua, water. Water is life. Ancient, sacred, pure. It remembers creation and carries cleansing. It can be calm or it can rage, but it always moves. Aqua teaches us to be soft yet strong, to adapt yet remain, to flow around obstacles yet shape even the hardest stone. We came from water. We need water. And sometimes, when words fail and hearts break, only water, falling from our eyes or washing over our skin, can heal what language cannot.
Okay, you're welcome back. Still Health Matters on Aneke TV with Amaka Niji, and with me is Doctor. I've increased your rank already.
Okay.
And with me is Dr. Taiwo Kolawole, who is the Director of CAT Medical Services Enugu, and we're talking about cholera. So, Doctor, before we end up the show today, I would like to discuss the preventive measures. I know initially you've talked about something like that, but we need it in details because there are people who really do not understand what cholera is. They just, because I've seen cases where people just see water anywhere and they drink. You see people even drinking from the same cup and plate with their pets. So and when it comes to the community, how can community leaders, church leaders, how can these people create awareness and tell people that cholera is real and these are ways to prevent it?
It's okay. Community leaders, religious leaders, youth leaders of communities have a great role to play. Even schools, school proprietors have a great role to play. You know, there's this popular balance in Africa that dirty know they kill African man. We believe that dirty know they kill us. Anything that happened, and some religious beliefs, they will tell you whatever happens is from God. There are some religions that will tell you that whatever happens, it is God that has allowed it.
Okay.
You understand? But we need to know that sometimes it happens not because God wants it to happen, but because we are careless. So let's get to the communities. Let me go to the government first. Government has a major role to play because to mobilize the community, it must start from the government. They need to invite the traditional rulers. Talk to them about it. You cannot underemphasize the importance of the traditional rulers because each community have where they call village squares. where they gather, where they discuss. Like the just concluded month, August. In the East here, we have August meeting, where all the women gather. And when you go to different communities, you see the women discussing so many things. They discuss water supply, they discuss so many things, commercial activities and other things. And those are ways you can get them. So if government, mobilize the community leaders and give it to them as part of the thing they should do. We are giving you this to do, train them, explain to them, then maybe give them an health officer, each community an health officer, and say, organize this your community. It may not be at the same time. It could be like 10, 15 communities at a time. After that, we move it to 10, 15 communities. Organize these community gatherings, talk to the people there, talk to the youth there. The message will be spreading. Then when you're talking of schools, children learn so much. Children believe that teacher are more than their parents. If your child comes and you say, no, hit this, you say, no, my teacher told me this is how I should hit. You understand? They learn so much. So, and we have the Ministry of Education, where they can just bring out the policy and say, okay, so week is cholera campaign week. So all schools talk of cholera to children, tell them how to prevent it, tell them how to avoid it. Teach those teachers. They will pass the message across to the children. And the children will start observing it at home. You understand? Then the churches too. We have CAN, Christian Association of Nigeria. We have CPFN, Christian Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, though a part of a block in CAN. We have Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. We have other religious groups that can also take up this advocacy and talk to the ministers, and then the ministers will definitely pass it across to the members. Those are the different routes we can take to make sure that we get this to our members, most especially the rural areas. Most especially the rural areas. I think with this we can get to a lot of people. And the one you are doing as well, yes, the one you are doing as well, the media too is part of it. With other medias, and when you meet, you can just decide and say, okay, for the next 1 week, let all radio stations talk about cholera prevention. It will get across to so many. It may not be all, but to so many. Okay. And we'll be able to achieve tangible results.
All right, thank you so much. So finally, let's talk about vaccine.
Okay.
Is there any vaccine for cholera?
Yes, we have this oral cholera vaccine.
Okay, it's just oral?
Yes, okay. It's oral cholera vaccine. And it was disbursed. There was a time we have this outbreak in Zamfara, and it was disbursed to them. And vaccine is not what you just bring out every time. You just bring it out once in a while to vaccinate the people, especially the children. So from cottage hospitals, especially in the East, cottage hospitals, general hospitals, you can easily get those vaccines. Okay. It's not what you can just get anywhere, because preserving the vaccines are very expensive. Yeah. You understand? Yes. But you get them in general hospitals, cottage hospitals, government hospitals.
Okay, so it's just in the government hospitals?
Yes. Some private have it too, but not all private.
Not everybody can actually can afford these vaccines.
No, government gave them out free. Okay. The government will not charge you for vaccines. They don't charge for vaccines. Okay. But if you go to private hospitals, of course, they will charge.
So is there any medical outreach coming up anytime soon just for people, or is there anywhere there's usually a campaign? Because there's one I know about cancer. Every Saturday, you go there for free cancer tests.
Okay.
Yeah. So is there any, does it happen too when it comes to cholera? Like people go there on a particular day and to get free vaccines?
I'm not aware of any for now.
Okay.
But I know that Nigeria, the Ministry of Health, have vaccines available.
Okay, so anybody who wants any can go to
Yes,
any
if
federal
it's
government hospital.
State and government, you get it.
All right.
You get it. But you know, cholera is not like cancer. Cholera usually is an heartbreak.
Okay.
No, we are able to contain it. Okay. But sometimes, maybe due to carelessness or something, the thing leaks out and it spreads very fast. And government also respond very fast. But cancer is what stays with people.
Yes, of course.
And cholera kills very fast. Cancer may not kill fast.
That will bring me to my last question. Does cholera have a cure? Or it's
cure.
just there?
No, it has cure.
Okay, there is a cure for it.
It's treated, and you'll be treated and you'll be free, you'll be okay.
Okay.
That's cure.
All right. Okay. All right. So that's our final question. Thank you so much, Dr. Taiwo Kolawole. It was nice having you in the studio.
Nice.
So cholera is fast, but knowledge is faster. So if you take the right steps, clean water, good hygiene, quick response to symptoms, we can save lives. Yes. Thank you all so much for being a part of this program today. Join us again, same time, same station, next week, Saturday, right here on Aneke TV. You can drop your comments across all our social media platforms on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and right here on YouTube, all at Aneke TV. My name is Amaka Nichi.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world.
na mbụ ọja m na-asị ekekele ụwa na ọkwa ọja ekenekwa gị n'eluigwe na ala na-ekene gị n'urukpuru na kpakpando na-ekene gị n'ugwu na ndịna na-ekene gị maka ka onye si eme ka ekwe si akpụ ya ka onye si eme ka ọja si akpụ ya ihe a bụ Aneke TV.
Kenny, also na n'ọgbọ, ọdún tí mo ẹlẹ́sẹ̀ na n'ọgbọ. Ijele being on a one, Ijele.
Ndana de na ficheleno. Cheleno de rodo.
Ijele no no one, Ijele being on a one. People, they record behind them, man. They record behind them, man. Also, in a man culture, they will be. Kenny, also on our one, also to my lesson on our one. Ijele being on our one, Ijele.
Yes, thanks for joining us on the program, The Arena, where we meet to take on burning topical issues and matters facing us as a people in society. By the way, it's Independence, Nigeria at 65. Happy Independence, Nigeria. Okay, my name is Chris Anibuogo, and today on The Arena, coming to you on Aneke television, we're running a series of Nigeria's independence. It's 65 years of our political journey. How far have we come? How well have we gone? These are some of the issues on the lips of Nigerians. Today on the show, we want to take a look at a very critical and crucial sector, because some analysts, pundits have described this sector as being the superstructure upon which every other sector falls upon. And we're talking about the political structure. So today on the program, we want to look at Nigeria 65, the political development and happenings as far as our country, Nigeria, is concerned till date. And to help us do justice to this matter is a regular on this show, a principal lecturer at the Institute of Management and Technology, IMT, here in Enugu, from the Department of Public Administration. Dr. Aneke Nwanze is here with us. Doc, it's a pleasure having you join us.
Great Nigerians, happy Independence Day.
And happy Independence to you too, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's unleash the dish this day. If you go out there on the streets of Nigeria, I tell you, it's a mixed feelings, mixed reactions coming from the people. For some persons, it's independence celebration and it's worth celebrating. But for some others, they just do not even wish to talk about it. Maybe due to obvious economic situation in the country, people are not satisfied and all of that with our journey so far. But I don't know which side of the fence you may be seated, Dr. Nwanze. So for you, Nigeria is 65 years. Are you satisfied with how much we've come so far as a people?
Let's go back in history, because Karl Marx said for you to know what will happen, you must know what has happened. Nigeria has gone a long way in history that started 65 years ago. In Nigeria, last 65 years was when Nigeria was hosting, transferring Union Jack to green, white, green. That is our emergence of our independence from the British colonial masters. And since then, Nigeria have been on a journey. But I want to start by saying, if a man who is 65 and is not married, that man by normal ranking is not doing well. By 65, a man is supposed to be a grandfather. By 65, a woman is supposed to be great-grandmother, if things are working the way they ought to work.
All things being equal.
And whatever you are seeing in Nigeria today is not just something that started today. It has been a cumulative of disappointments coming from the past leaders, coming from military dictatorship in the military era, transitioning to segments like First Republic, Second Republic. Then we're in Fourth Republic that have not been truncated since 1999. But I tell you the truth, instead of things becoming better, things will always come up from better to worse. And it's not supposed to be so. So what people are experiencing today is what we call post-independence disillusionment. They are disillusioned. They are disappointed. They are not happy. Things that are supposed to make them to be happy. I've been to places today. I went to hospital this morning with my wife for checkup. Even the nurses that are there, they say they are not celebrating independence. And what they are celebrating is New Month.
New Month?
Yes. And I asked a question. They said they are not from Nigeria. Because of what they said, Nigeria is not a place where you can be proud to say, I am from Nigeria. Because Nigeria have invested in them poverty and untold hardship in a grand style. And what happened? It's not as if Nigeria as a geopolitical zone or a geopolitical, natural, geographical place created by God himself is bad. But what I envisaged in their statement and the way they react to today's anniversary is that the leaders in the past, you know, and with this, I don't know why the national anthem we use that says, let the heroes, the labors of our heroes past not be in vain. That thing is very prophetic. And that national anthem that this current federal government changed is when they started getting what is happening now wrong and wrong. I am even moving emotion that that's our heroes past. That national anthem should be reinstated. Because of what?
Arise, O compatriots.
Yes, O compatriots. Where are the compatriots? We are talking of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. We are talking about Obafemi Awolowo. We are talking about Ahmadu Bello and Herbert Macaulay. These are the people that paid with their lives trying to agitate for self-governance, trying to tell the British people that these things you are doing is man's inhumanity to his fellow man, that we can do it ourselves. And at the end of the day, their agitations yielded fruit by the British government going and handing over power to Tafawa Balewa. Now Nigeria started with parliamentary system of government according to the British rule. You know, till today, British people are still practicing parliamentary system of government, where you have the head of state and the head of government. The prime minister is the head of state. The queen is the prime minister is head of government. The queen is the head of state. But it didn't work in Nigeria. And based on that, in 1979, which happened to be our first republic, we resorted to presidentialism. According to 1979 Constitution, it was federal system of government. In a federal system of government, according to American style, the president is the head, commander-in-chief, the head of state, the head of government, and commander-in-chief of the military, armed forces. But then, after 1979-83, military came back again. And what is their reason? Or what prompted their coming back is that the politicians, they were accused that 1983 election was masterminded by rigging and corruption in the high places. But when the military enters the government to correct the abnormalities, we still see corruption holding sway. We still see the things that they have accused politicians doing the same thing. Now, in 1999, till date, about 26 years back, we have entered into untruncated Fourth Republic in democratic grand style. And it started with not Shehu Shagari this time around, Olusegun Obasanjo, who used to be the first ever man to have been the president of this country in the military and in the civilian. Now, a lot of things. Economy, he touched on our economy, economic reforms. He touched on security. He touched on other things. Then the successors also came. Yar'Adua came and had his 7-point agenda, and in the process of those 7-point agenda, he kicked the bucket. You know, he surrendered to the cold hands of death. Then his successor, who is Jonathan Goodluck, also entered, and in 5 years could not do much. Started from where he stopped in the reforms, and by 2015 election, Jonathan was won by the late Buhari, and our economy became worse than ever before. That people will now say this Buhari regime now on the calendar and economy things rising cost of living became very high. Dollar per naira became high. House rent became high. A lot of things became high. And we are still trying to come from the coma of Buhari's government and administration. The current government now took over power. And on the day of inauguration, on 2023, May 29th, a lot of things, we witnessed a lot of things. One is the withdrawal of fuel subsidy by the current federal government. And since then, the hardship now raised to power too. Now it became very, 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 do I call it, in geometrical progressions. That things, prices of commodities tripled. The prices of fuel from 200 naira rose to date 900, 800, depending on where you bought your own, and house rents, and school fees, and cost of feeding. The painter of Gary went up to there was a time it was sold for 3,025. Today it has come down, but it's coming down in 1,005. No, a bag of rice, I bought one this afternoon, it says 56,000 for 50 kg. But this rice, in those days of Jonathan Goodluck, we buy it 12,000. We bought it 15,000. And it's not as if they are using dollars to get rice. So that Nigeria has ripe at 65 to have what we call economic emancipation. That's reliability of economic stay that will make the citizens well bettered. That will create a welfare state that will make people to say, if I travel outside the country, I will say, I am proud to be a Nigerian.
Well, what a lengthy, presentation there by Dr. Aneke Nwanze. Thank you for, taking us down memory lane, taking us from where we started as a people from 1960 when we gained our independence down to where we are currently in leadership. So, in a nutshell, we can take it from you that you are not satisfied with how far we've come so far politically. Right? You're not satisfied.
Sure.
Okay. So you're an academician. If you were to grade or give us a pass mark now, what will it be for you? A C, a B, or an A? Our political journey. How far have we come? If you are to grade us.
I am to grade Nigeria,
yes,
in terms of grade, they are below average.
Below average.
If you like, in that grade, they have scored D, not C. D.
A D?
Yes.
Not an C?
Not C. Because C is relatively passed.
And that
if
is...
you score D in WAEC, in mathematics, or in English, you are coming back to write WAEC again.
That's near failure.
Have we ever stopped to ask ourselves, why is it that graduates don't have jobs here? Why is it that our graduates, Jabba, they fly out to make money outside this country?
In millions.
And when they make money outside in UK, in Canada, in US, and they come back here, if they're selling a bag of cement, 10,000 naira, they can buy 100 once. You know why? Because our naira is devalued. Our naira is devalued. And someone is in the position to make our naira to be valuable. Someone is in the position to make our naira to count. Someone is in the position to create a job that our youth will be busy. Someone is in the position to make, even if the youth are not working, that they can go home with something, a stipend, that they can call monthly allowances, as can be seen in other countries. Someone can go home if they are taxing citizens on every size. The citizens that are being taxed should also feel very, very comforted that they are being taxed. If you are not being taxed directly, you are being taxed indirectly. So the citizens should be happy that I am a citizen of this country. I mean, all over the world, there is some economic, recess. But when we compare what is happening in other countries with that of Nigeria, you see that Nigeria is ranking according to world statistics. That is, do I call it international standard of measuring what is poor? Nigeria is ranking very, 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 is at the back. Why? Because our gross domestic product, GDP, is very, very low, because GDP is measured in terms of per capita income. It is measured in terms of what do you produce. We are talking of reliant on borrowing loans from multinational financial institutions, from other national institutions, and these loans are not expended in production. If it is not expended in production, it then means it is expended in consumption. It is expended in corruption. It is expended in someone else, individual interest or personal interest as against public interest. These are the reasons. Now, there are certain challenges that we may talk on this platform.
We'll come to those.
So
we'll come to
these
that.
are the things. I'm talking my views. And I believe that what I'm talking, having talked of people outside there in the market, in the hospital, all over in Enugu before now, that they are not happy. And some say they are not celebrating. Some say they are not Nigerians. That a lot of things. I mean, if you begin to interview them one after the other, you would still hear different views, different opinions. I think this is a high time the Nigerian leaders sit tight and ask a question. If I am 65 as a man and I'm not married, will I be counted as a responsible man? The answer is obviously no.
No.
In my village, in my town where I hail from, if you are 65 without marriage, they struck you off from what is, they will just see you as that you cannot marry again. And if you are not married even in the economic and world standard, you are not responsible. What makes a man responsible is that he is married, he has children that he is accountable to. So Nigeria by 65 supposed to have what we call a stability economically. What we are suffering today, security, this and that. And I ask myself each time they say insecurity, insurgency, unknown gunmen, terrorism. In the north, you talk of Boko Harams. In the east here, you talk of unknown gunmen. In the west, you talk of other things. And I begin to ask a question that have not been answered. Is it that the terrorists, the unknown gunmen, the Boko Haram that don't have instrumentality legal of coercion, are they stronger than the Nigerian military, the Nigerian DSS, the Nigerian police that have what to call, do I call it, license legally occupation of instrumentality of coercion? If somebody that is not a policeman or an army is found with unlicensed gun, it is illegal according to Nigerian constitution. But these people it's like they are trying to weigh everybody down. And that is where I see that it is a political problem, which is part of Nigerian problem. It is political motivated problem that maybe a group of people somewhere are trying to kind of frustrate the effort of Nigeria in trying to make peace and security to become the order of the day in Nigeria. And if I am 65 today, by 65 in Polytechnic, you are so said to have retired if you're a lecturer. If you are not a lecturer, if you are in non-teaching, by 60, you are going home, as in normal civil service, or even in my school, if you are 60 and you are not a lecturer, you are going, as in you are due for retirement. Now, can we ask ourselves this question? By 65 today, we are supposed to become a kind of a consultant to other nations. There are other nations in Africa that Nigeria gained independence before. Like, let me just quickly say this before I forget. In the early 80s, Malaysia came to Nigeria and took our palm nuts and went to Malaysia and started doing palm plantation. Today, Malaysia is the highest producer of palm oil. They produce palm oil in different grand style. They use it to build what I call brake pads and clutches. They do a kind of recycling from palm oil, from pomade, from oil, from palm oil. From the palm kernels is used in doing some of this cake for supplements for animals. A lot of things that are being recycled. What is it not people that took it from us, that went and did it, and today they are #1 in terms of oil production in palm oil. So which means more or less, or in 70% of Nigerian problem from 1960 to date is more of leadership problem.
More of leadership problem, like the Nobel laureate, God bless it so, Chinua Achebe will write in his book, The Problem with Nigeria is Leadership. So he said, Dr. Wanze, I wouldn't know. We are looking at our political journey since 1965. Nigeria gained our independence in 1965. You've told us that you are not satisfied with our journey so far as a people. As well, you've also been able to grade our journey so far. A D is near failure. Let's look at the political systems that we have practiced as a people from 1960 till date. Just maybe our problem could be as a result of the system we practice. For some persons, they want to blame the military for ever coming into Nigerian political scene. Some others want to blame it upon colonialism, that the white men who came here never did us any good, that they came, captured our land, took over our resources, and at the end of the day, married the people that were not supposed to be married together just to satisfy their own interests, and then they left us on that note. You know what I mean? The amalgamation of Nigeria, bringing together of the southern and northern people together under one roof called Nigeria. So I wouldn't know. For a lot of people, they want to lay hands to different reasons why we are still struggling with our political journey as a people. So, but for you, I don't know. Would you want to blame our problems on colonialism? Do you want to blame it on militarism? Do you want to blame it? We once upon a time practiced parliamentary system of government. That was the first republic before the military struck. Now we are practicing an adopted system called presidential system, which we borrowed from the United States of America. But some others have equally looked critically at the system, the presidential system we are practicing, and says, we borrow from the US on the papers. But in terms of practice, we are not practicing what we actually copied from the United States, because what they do over there seems to be different from what we are doing here. In the US, the different states are responsible for their various resources.
Through federalism.
Through federalism. And they give back to the central government to take care of certain sectors like let's say the currency, the military, you understand, foreign relations. But then the subnationals, the states, are responsible for the development of their various places. Do you understand? If actually we borrow the presidential system of government from the US, how come here the central government in Nigeria is responsible for the resources, and then they give allocation back to the subnationals? So for you,
let me come in.
Where will you want to put the blame?
Let me
beginning from colonialism.
The greatest thing that happened to Nigeria is Nigerian colonialism.
Nigerian colonialism.
The British people are 100% better than Nigerians in terms of equity, in terms of good governance, in terms of truth table, in terms of integrity, in terms of resource explorations. Why do I say so?
Why do you say so?
If you see the houses that are built by the colonial master and the roads, you can compare them with the kind of junk roads that our contractors used to do today.
The one the British built while they were here with us?
Yes.
Okay.
The Trunk A Road, even the Milliken Hill, the Milliken. Milliki is a name of one of the colonial masters in those days that ruled in Enugu. And he was the person that masterminded the breaking of that hill. When they build something, they build bridge, they build it to the taste that it will last, to the taste that is going to serve for a long time. But give our people the contract to do it, they go for cheap labor in order to save money.
So are you blaming that on colonialism?
Now listen, Chris. Why I said some of the things we are saying, some of the things we discovered, some of the things before they are coming, we were wallowing in ignorance. Discovery of the petroleum that is do I call it was not discovered by an Igbo man or a Nigeria. It was discovered by Shell BP, which is a British company. What we are speaking now, is it our language? Look at the way you dress. They opened our eye, they gave us education. And they dropped a kind of a paradigm. They dropped a system that can run us and make us better. We undermine the system with corruption. by having what we call do I call it selfish aggrandizement to enrich ourselves overnight. What the British people, why I say that they are the best thing that has happened to us, they are motivated by legacy, a legacy eternal. And people are motivated by selfish stomach infrastructures, selfish pockets. Now what, okay, now look at, let me use this medium. There is no moral justification where Fubara could have been suspended. And the military will say it is the worst form of democracy. A military man came to what? River State for 6 months. He has no moral justification. Where is a governor that was elected should be suspended for 6 months. And that is the reason why the lawyers in Nigeria were supposed to do their conference in River State by that August. They say that what came from the federal government to have suspended a sitting governor that was elected by the people is incongruent with natural justice, equity, and good conscience. And the Nigerian Bar Association cannot have a meeting in River State. I'll give you another example. Why should in our Senate, a particular senator, Natasha, was suspended for 6 months, even coming to resume office, become a problem? These are the problems we're suffering in Nigeria. And today, it is one party, a particular party will turn justice upside down. We are coming to reforms. You know, if we don't preach and go for strong institutions, Nigeria will be in state of motion without moving. Now look at, I was just trying to read my phone. I was just looking at, you will see someone that may be appointed as the person that will succeed the former INEC chairman. It has not happened in that way before. For every sitting president will always appoint someone that is not from his own geopolitical zone for transparency, for equity, for good governance. Yes, but if I am a president of Igbo extraction and I appoint an independent INEC chairman from Igbo extraction, it is not fair. It has not happened in Nigeria before, and it's about to happen now. These are the things. I said the leadership is the problem. It's not about now. It's not about the.
It's not about the system.
It's not about the system. Now, let me shock you. If a bad driver who doesn't know how to drive enters in a new vehicle, he's bound to crash that vehicle. But except someone who is trained on how to drive handles the steering, he will drive, go out and park the car.
So it's not about the vehicle, it's about the driver.
It's about the driver.
What if the vehicle is faulty?
I say a brand new vehicle. I just say I didn't say a faulty vehicle. With a wrong driver, a person who doesn't know how to drive, that new vehicle must be clashed by that driver because he doesn't know how to drive. So now, I'm moving emotion that our leader is supposed to be going to training on leadership. Not just trying to lead because I feel that I can lead. I feel that I can do it. And reorientation and the change of paradigm. Reorientation of our mindset. That Nigerian belongs to all of us. It doesn't belong to any particular person. As I speak without fear and favor. I speak because I know that at the age of 50, I am supposed to tell the truth. And if I cannot tell the truth the way I am now, somebody
once said,
and that's the reason why people are
somebody in this country once said,
ashamed and are not happy.
If you say the truth, somebody once said,
I am willing to die if I say the truth.
Somebody said once upon a time that if you say the truth, you die. You don't tell the truth, you die. So he said, why not say the truth?
If you don't say the truth, you still die.
So on that note, we want to pause you now because we want to go on a quick short break. And when we return the conversation, we are not done yet because I think my producer has been able to secure enough time for us on this show. So we are going to look at a whole lot of issues, okay, and then maybe we'll conclude with the way forward for Nigeria. So for you, we are not where we should be politically, but for you again, it's not a problem of the system we practice. It could be parliamentary, it could be
it's a problem of who manages the system.
Could be whatever it is, but then it's not about these systems. Rather, it's about the people. So stay with us, dear viewer. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Debra Wakoba. I am Chidimike Mede.
I am Uche Osai.
I'm Chiwendo Ifeonwankwe.
My name is Obobina Samson.
Please keep watching Aneke TV, or you can visit us on our socials like Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, or YouTube, all at Aneke TV.
This is Aneke TV. We move with the world. Okay, good to have you return with us on the show. It is still the arena on Aneke Television, and it is Independence, Nigeria Independence Special. And we're looking at our political journey in Nigeria. Dr. Wanz is still here with us, and then we want to continue with you, but then on a different direction now. Well, we've said we're not blaming our problems, our political problems, on the political systems we practice, because in comparative political analysis, you'll agree with me that the systems of government we've tried in this country that has not worked or not working seem to be working elsewhere. So what is the magic? But then we keep all of that aside. Dr. Wanze, as a people, the politics of divide and rule introduced by the colonial masters, where we had the eastern region, the western region, and the northern region left as a whole block. Some persons say it is part of our problem because we've not been able to overcome that ethnicity that is deeply and sharply dividing us as a people. For instance, the Igbo man sees himself as an Igbo man before seeing himself as a Nigerian. The man from the north sees himself as an Hausa man, a Fulani man, before seeing himself as a Nigerian. And the man from the west sees himself to be a Yoruba man first, before he even considers himself as a Nigerian. Is that not a problem? Isn't that a problem? Part of our problem. So that even if you have your brother from the north, from the east or west, in political position, whether he's capable, whether he has what it takes to be there or not, just because he's from your own ethnic nationality, you seem to be comfortable with it. Isn't that a problem? Ethnicity, tribalism, even religion.
There are so many indicators and indices of our Nigerian challenges
Go ahead,
and
sir.
problems.
Go ahead, sir.
Ethnicity is one of them, but even at that, if you're a Yoruba man and you have your own state to rule, you still show good example. We're talking about people that is leading, not the system. Ethnicity is one of it, but it's not, I'm not blaming it wholly on ethnicity. Why? If you assume leadership position as a Yoruba man leading Nigeria, or as an Hausa man leading Nigeria, as an Igbo man who have only ruled for 6 months in the military dictatorship, in democracy, an Igbo man have not assumed power, you show good exemplary leadership.
Are you sure about that? What about the days of Nnamdi Azikiwe as the president of Nigeria?
It's just a toothless bulldog.
How do you mean?
What I mean is that Nnamdi Azikiwe was not an executive president. The person that was executive president even then was Shehu Shagari, who is an Hausa man. So Nnamdi Azikiwe, remember that it was in the days of parliamentary system of government. The chief executive then was Tafawa Balewa.
Who was the prime minister?
Prime minister, that's chief executive.
Yeah.
In parliamentary system of government, which is working. That's why I say it's not the system we are practicing. The UK that all of us wants to go today is still in parliamentary system.
That's right.
The America that everybody wants to go and get their dollar is still in presidential system.
That's
and
right.
we have practiced the do, and it's not working. Which means that is why I will say it time and time again, even at a gunpoint, that it is not the system. It's about the people that operate the system. Now I was saying something about ethnicity. Yeah, good. Today, Sikh is known for one Nigeria.
That was his philosophy
yes,
and ideology.
That if you are coming from the north, if you are coming from the east, if you are coming from the west, does not matter. What matters is he sees himself as a Nigerian, and Nigeria should be good. To Awolowo will say, I am first in